Hey guys, it's Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today is Saturday, August 13th. It's been a while since I've did a YouTube video, so I wanted to do one for some MLB sports betting picks for the day. We've been doing really well recently, and I absolutely love the way the sheet's set up right now. It takes me about 10 minutes to flip through the daily stacks tab and narrow down 7 or 8 games, and then I dig into them and get it down to 3 or 4 that I like. There's a couple plays that I do like today. I have a safe parlay, a long shot parlay, and then kind of a medium plus 150 parlay. So I've got 3 bets out right now, and I wanted to go over those with you. And more importantly, I wanted to show you what I'm looking at on the cheat sheet that jumps out at me for these plays. So for the safe parlay, I'm going to go with the LA Dodgers minus 1.5. I'm going to take the run line, and then I am going to take the Padres first 5 with Darvish on the mound. That's going to be the safe parlay. That pays 1 plus 150. And then I also did a medium parlay with just the Dodgers, Padres, and Houston money lines parlayed up. That also pays 150. We'll go over that. And then my long shot parlay, I'm going with Padres first 5 run line with Cleveland plus 100, and then LA Angels first 5 run line plus 115, and that one pays plus 600. If you add the Dodgers run line on there, it will probably take it up over 10-1, but again, that's up to you. I'm going to run through these games real quick. So Dodgers run line, I mean, this is pretty much a blind bet at this point. You can see here they've won 11 in a row, all 11 games by the run line, including 3 against a really good San Diego Padres team, and then they beat Kansas City 8-3 last night. Right now, Dodgers rank number 1 in our custom last 10 power rankings on the cheat sheet, so we like that. Kansas City, they've got a few wins they've put together here, but the biggest thing that jumps out at me is the bullpens. Let me slide this over so you can see it. So the Dodgers have the number 1 bullpen, and Royals have the dead last bullpen. So as opposed to taking a first 5 line, I like taking the run line and letting this game play the full 9 innings. Kansas City gives up a ton of runs on the bullpen, so even if Keller has a good start, I'm not really worried about it. And Heaney is really good. Let's take a look at him, and I always recommend going to either RotoWire, Cruncher, whatever optimizer or website you use, and looking at the pitchers, looking at their recent starts. So here we can see Heaney, he had a couple in April, 1 in June, and then he left for 5 weeks, and he came back, and he's had 3 starts since, and he allowed 0, 1, and 0 earned runs in about 4 to 4.2 innings against the Giants and the Padres, so pretty decent. So he's playing well right now. I like Heaney. And I want to flip over and look at Keller and just make sure he's not absolutely killing it. He did have a good start last time out. He allowed 1 run in 6 innings against Boston, but Boston's been struggling. They really haven't been doing much. But prior to that, he allowed 8 earned runs to the White Sox, 3 to a poor Angels team, 4 to Tampa Bay, and 4 to Houston. So not really worried about him shutting out a hot Dodgers team. So Dodgers run line is one of the plays that I do like today. I think the money line on this was like minus 280, which was stupid, but you can get it down to minus, where did I write it down? 150 on the run line, so you can pretty much cut that in half. And then the other one that I really like, which is my favorite play of the day, is going to be Padres first 5 run line. So first 5, you can bet the money line or the run line. Run line just means minus a half a run. So after 5 complete innings, they've got to be up by 1 run. So I've had really good luck with these over the last month or so. And so here we can see the Padres, they've been doing really good, minus this little stretch here. But again, 3 of those games were against a red-hot Dodgers team, so I throw those out the window. But they've won 3 in a row, and I love how many runs they've been putting up, 10, 13, and 7 over the last 3. And they beat Washington 10-5 last night. Washington, we've been picking on them all year. They rank 30th in our last 10 power rankings. Here you can see they've lost 8 of the last 9 games, with their lone win coming by 1 against the Cubs. So I'm not really worried about them. But the reason I love the first 5 here, even if you want to go the game line, you can, but it's something stupid like minus 260, minus 280. Dodgers have a better bullpen, but the pitching matchup is such an advantage. I think you get a huge edge here by taking Padres first 5 minus a half, and you can get it down to about minus 170, minus 175. My inflated book has minus 175, so I put that in a parlay, and I really like it. So we have Darvish versus Sanchez. Now you can see here, Anibal Sanchez only has 25 innings, but he has an ERA of 7.5, a whip over 1.5, and he's allowing a 286 average, so I'm not worried about him at all. Darvish has been doing really well. He's got 134 innings. He has an ERA of 3.3, a whip of 1.0, and allowing a 217 average. So Darvish is really good. So this is one game that should jump out at you for a first 5 bet. But we always want to go look at the pitchers and just look at recent starts to make sure they are doing well. So Darvish, I had put a lock on him so I could show and talk about him. So he just faced a really tough Dodgers team, went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. That's pretty good. Prior to that, he's only allowed 2, 1, 3, and 1 earned runs, so he's been doing really well over his last 5 starts. Let me look and see if he's played Washington. He has not faced Washington yet this year, so Darvish has been doing really good. He's got good bat support, so we like that. And then on the other side, we're going to take a look at Anibal Sanchez. You can see here I just clicked this down arrow. When I look at their recent logs and they're not doing well, he's allowed 4, 4, and 6 earned runs over his last 3. So we have a really good pitcher versus a really bad pitcher. The really good pitcher is being supported by a very good team that's playing really good. And then the bad pitcher has a really poor team that can't win any games behind him. So this is an ideal red flag first 5 run line to go ahead and bet. So my favorite play of the day is going to be Padres first 5 run line. And then the safe parlay, I put it in with Dodgers run line, and it pays plus 150, so it's low risk, a little bit better reward. Moving on down, now if you just want to do the Dodgers money line and Padres money line and play it safe, I also did a bet and I threw Houston in here. Now I do have some reservations with this Houston game, and let me find out who are they playing. Houston and Oakland. All right, let me find Oakland. So I did Dodgers, Houston, Padres money line. They all pay plus 150. If you want to narrow down and take some of the run line on those games, you can increase the odds of that parlay, but just a safe basic one in case for some reason the Royals stay within 1 or Washington somehow stays within 1. I wanted to get a little bet with a little action on Houston, but I don't love it enough to bet straight up. So one of the things that jumps out, Oakland is horrible right now. They've lost 6 games in a row. They're getting killed. They got swept by a poor Angels team. They ranked 27th in our last 10 power rankings. Houston ranks 4th. You can see they've won 2 in a row. They've won 3 of 4. So they are doing decent right now. So this should point an arrow directly to Houston and want you to go look at the line and see who's going. Now McCullers, he's making his first debut, so my reservation here is he didn't do real good in his rehab start in AAA. He got slapped around a little bit, so luckily he gets to face a horrible Oakland team. But again, I don't want to lay negative money on this. I want to lay something where I get a positive return because I do like Houston as a team. They've got a really good bullpen, so as long as things don't get out of control, Houston can turn it over to the bullpen and save the game. On the other side, we've got Zach Logue, or Lodge, however you say that. Only 35 innings, 4.8 ERA, xFIP's much higher, and allowing a 261 average, and they have a poor bullpen. So there's not going to be any stats on McCullers, but if we go over to Zach, we take a look at him. So he pitched a little bit in April, a bunch of starts in May, and then he just came back and did 5 innings of 2-run ball against this Houston team. So that wasn't a terrible start. But again, I would lean Houston here, but I do not like it enough to bet it straight up. I'm mix and matching it in with the Padres Dodgers to get a plus 150 card. Now, looking at the long shot parlay, at a minimum, this is going to pay plus 600. If you want to deviate and add Dodgers run line, you can crank it up to probably greater than 10-1. The first play that I like, I'm going with my favorite, Padres first 5 run line minus 175. That's how I'm going to start the card off. And then the next 2 games I'm going to add, the first one is going to be Cleveland plus 100 versus Toronto. Anytime you get into that plus money, and this is right on the borderline, you can really crank up these odds and get a good payday. So here we have a slight 2% advantage for Cleveland, not a ton, but what I like about this is Toronto has lost 5 of 6 games, including 8-0 last night. And then we have Cleveland, who they're rolling right now. They've won 6 games in a row, including the 8-0 win last night. They swept Detroit, and then they won the last 2 games against a tough Houston team, so they're playing really good right now. And as far as pitching, we have Mitch White versus Tristan McKenzie. I love McKenzie. He's doing really well right now. Mitch White's not a bad pitcher. I've got nothing against him, but I really like dog money on the hotter team right now that's playing better and has a really good pitcher on the mound. And then we also have a slightly better bullpen over here for Cleveland, 7 versus 16th. So the first thing I'm going to do is go look at McKenzie, and I want to see what his starts look like. Oh, this is going to be the 5:40 game, isn't it? No, it's a 2:07 game, so it should be on the early. So I'm going to pull up McKenzie and just take a look at his recent start. So he just coming off facing Houston. He went 8 shutout innings, only allowed 2 hits. That's phenomenal. He's a little bit all over the place, though, as I wrote in the article. He has 4 and 4 earned runs in 2 starts, but then prior to that, he did 8 shutout innings, 6 shutout innings, 7 shutout innings. So getting plus money, I really like taking a shot here against a team that's struggling in Toronto. You're going to know if you win or lose this game real quick. By the 3rd inning, he's either going to get tagged and give up a few runs and you can move on from it because it's an early game and rebook the parlay, or he's going to be on fire. He's going to have 3 shutout innings, and then you know you're probably going to have a pretty good shot at Cleveland winning. The other game that I'm going to take a look at for the dog parlay, and again, the dog parlay I'm going with is Cleveland plus 100, Padres first 5 run line, and then if you put the Angels first 5 run line, that's plus 115. That gives you plus 600. And the reason I like that one is, let's see, Minnesota and LAA. Let's go look at that one. So Minnesota and the Angels. So you can see here, Minnesota, they're decent. You know, both teams 5-5 over the last 10. They're pretty much the same over the last 20. But I really like the pitching side. This says not named yet, so we'll look, see if the pitcher's up. Or actually, it's Reed Detmers. And then Bundy's on the other side. So Bundy has pretty average stats, 93 innings, ERA of 5, xFIP slightly better, but still over 4, allowing a 272 average, 1.3 whip. But if you look at his split here, on the road he has 58 innings, so we have a substantial amount of innings. Look at his ERA difference from home versus road. 2.83 at home versus 6.33 on the road. Whip at home goes 1.03 and it jumps to 1.46 on the road. Batting average allowed goes from 220 at home, which is really good, to 301 on the road. So with a 6.33 ERA, 1.46 whip, 301 average on the road, I want to lead over here on LAA and see if we can get some run support. Now, what I like about Detmers, let's take a look at him. So since I heard VSiN talking about him, so I started looking into him. He was struggling. You can see here he got tagged a few times. He went down to AAA and I guess refound his slider. He's got some crazy pitch he throws that's almost unhittable right now. And since he's came back up on July 8th, look at this. 6 innings, no runs. 6 innings, 2 runs, but that was against Houston. 5 innings of 0 runs against Atlanta. 7 innings of 1 run against Texas. 7 innings of 1 run against Seattle. So he's only allowed 1, 1, 0, 2, and 0 earned runs in his last 5 starts. And then we have Bundy on the other side who struggles on the road. So I like taking a shot at the first 5 here. Now the Angels do not provide very much run support, but if they can get a 1-run lead across 5 innings, we can get plus 115 on this bet. So we only need to win this about roughly 45% of the time. So my long shot parlay is going to be Padres first 5 run line, Cleveland plus 100 as a dog, and the Angels with Detmer first 5 run line plus 115. That's going to pay plus 600. And then if you add Dodgers run line at minus 150, you can crank that up even more. So that's what I got for today, guys. Good luck.